Hello everyone, welcome back on this beautiful spring day for my 28-week bump date. My name is Kayla and thank you for tagging along. We have quite the update to share this morning, me and Connor. There's so much that's been going on this 28th week, and the reason this is uploading later than normal is because I had to wait to finish my 28th week to have all the updates and everything to provide for you guys. So it was worth the wait. The same will be for next week because this coming week I've got a test result coming in and my first baby shower. So I'll wait to update you guys on that. Let's dive on into it. So this week was a really big and kind of stressful week. So I guess it's the first official week of like the official third trimester. 28 weeks. Alright, so for 28 weeks, here is my 28-week normal letter block picture, but I took it with two little inflatable 28 balloons, you can see there, because 28 weeks is very important to me because it kind of just correlates with how old I am, 28 years old. And ever since I graduated high school and met Cody, I always pictured our timeline of events for our family, and it's gone just perfectly. That's just the right way how to do what we want and just kind of reach our goals. And I always pictured being a mom, being pregnant and becoming a mom at 28 years old. My mom was 27 and then other family members were much younger, but 28 just seemed like it was just God speaking to me that was when I was going to become a mom. So here we are, you know, after we were married for 5 years. Those are the two big things. So after we had our 5-year wedding anniversary back in June, we knew we wanted to start trying, but we didn't want like a March or April baby because there's so many birthdays at that time in our families, and it's just like, okay, let's just wait to the summer for a summer baby because you can have, you know, water birthday parties. Just, I don't know, I love summer birthdays because that was what most of my family is, and a lot of Cody's family also. So it's just this next generation's all like April babies. So we didn't want to have a March or April baby, so we knew we had to wait at least 2 months after our anniversary to start trying. And I wanted to get fully vaccinated through the COVID vaccine and have that out of the way and out of my system initially before getting pregnant. And I didn't want to get the vaccine during pregnancy. So we waited 2 months, and August rolled around and I was like, okay, let's just wait 1 more month. And that still gives us one more chance to get pregnant, or just gives us one shot, like right away, to either get pregnant or not before we reached our 6-year anniversary, which I wanted to do before, you know, this coming June, and also when we're still 28 years old. So I was like, okay, we've got like 1.5 months, like let's see what we can do with this. And we were pregnant before I even said that, so yay, like 2 weeks before. So it's just amazing how that works. And so 28 years old is very important to me, and we're at the 28th week, beginning of the 3rd trimester. It's a big milestone for a lot of different things. The rate of viability now of survival after the baby, if the baby is born now, is like over 96% chance of survival, so that's great odds. And just moving along, he's growing like every day, and I'm noticing more and more things. Typically I had been seeing and feeling him move a whole bunch, and that's kind of leveled off the last week and a half, and I've read that's because he's getting so big, it's harder to feel those more pronounced movements because he has less space. So now it's more like knees and elbows and feet and hands of what I'm feeling, and I am feeling that like right on one side a whole bunch, and he's pretty much staying put where he's at. And because at first I was a little concerned, I don't see his movements as much anymore. I can't feel him from the outside, Cody can't, I just feel it from the inside. But the doctor reassured me that was normal. So for this week, we had the glucose test, Connor's little foot doctor appointment, big foot doctor appointment, and our fun family 4D ultrasound. So stick along for that. Diving into quickly his updates before we get into that. So Connor is officially 28 weeks in the 3rd trimester. He's the size of a small pumpkin or a head of lettuce, and the size of a puppy. He's 15.2 inches long and 2.54 pounds. His head is not proportionate to the rest of his body. He's bursting with energy, and he can even cough now. I have felt a burst of energy myself this past week, even though I've been emotionally drained. I also had to get my tetanus whooping cough vaccine shot this week. Was another thing, which finally my arm's not sore anymore. And that's pretty much it for him. Let me show you some more pictures I've taken of the 28-week photo shoot. Weeks. As for me, I've noticed a tremendous upswing, unfortunately, in my heartburn. I've gotten to the point where I think I'm going to need to get a prescription from my doctor of something to help control my severe acid reflux whenever I just need it. Some days I don't need anything. Some days Tums cut it. Some days Pepsid cut it. Some days nothing cuts it. So on those days I need help. And I just don't know kind of what to do about that. Besides just getting a prescription for something, I don't like to be taking medicine while pregnant if I don't have to. So that's very stressful, but I'm going to have to make that leap because it's to that point where it's during the daytime now. It's after every meal. I can't lean back even a little bit in my chairs because it just like creeps up. Nighttime is a nightmare. I wake up constantly from just that burning in my throat of just the reflux coming up, and that's been my latest complaint. I've still been hiking and active with Cody and Lucy, and I've been enjoying feeling less back pain lately, so I think he's just moved into a position that's more favorable in the last week or two, which I'm so grateful for. We are trying to get ready for the baby shower this coming weekend, and I've been getting everything together, last minute details, and dealing with everything on top of that. And I've been starting to read not just What to Expect When Expecting, continuing that, but I've been starting to read the What to Expect the First Year of Life, because once he comes out after newborn stage, I don't know much about babies, and I just need to know the main milestones of growth because I have no clue what to expect each month of the baby's life besides like the first. So I have no idea when they start crawling, sitting, walking is around 1 year old, but yeah, I just need to know. When they start eating solids, everything. So I'm very naive with that. Great with pregnancy, but not so much when the baby actually gets here, which will be sooner than later. Less than 11 weeks or so, who knows? Jump to Connor's foot doctor's test results and test, because that's the first thing that happened this week. So I've been going to this week dreading kind of a lot of big events and knowing that it just wasn't going to be fantastic. I mean, I came in knowing that with a very realistic expectation, and that's kind of what has happened from those things. So the first thing, finally got in with one of the best foot doctors around and met with him about plans forward, showing him the ultrasound pictures of what in the world we should do, what it looks like, and kind of what the path forward is. And he was a good doctor, was better than we expected. We've heard some mixed reviews and feelings about him, but he's the best. So regardless of his bedside manner or personal, regardless of how he is, you gotta have the best if you can. So he came in and, was surprised to see just us, not a child, because, typically it's a children's hospital, a children's outpatient program, so I was like, well, the child's right here, he's right on time, I'm just transporting him. And so it's like, yes, I remember from your chart. So we came in and just kind of showed him the ultrasound pictures. He walked us through typically what the treatment plan is for anyone with club foot, regardless of severity, regardless of 1 foot versus 2 feet. And unfortunately, that doesn't seem to matter, honestly. He said, club foot is club foot. It doesn't matter if it's severe, not severe, 1 foot, both feet, whatever, upside down. He said, honestly, the treatment plan is the exact same for all cases. He said sometimes the most severe cases have the best outlooks and quickest outlooks of correction, and sometimes the ones that look the best have the slowest outcomes and react slowest to treatment. So that was a little discouraging because Connor's feet do not look bad, and it's just his left foot from what we can tell. And he was not enjoying the ultrasound pictures that we had, even though technology has increased significantly, and it just is incredible. And he was just not even bothered really to look at the ultrasound pictures. He said, you know, you don't know anything till he's born, which I completely agree, but you do have to accept that with technology growing nowadays, there is a better window kind of in on conditions and things that you wouldn't have had even 10 years ago. And I guess he hasn't caught up to that. He's a little bit of an older doctor. And, you know, I tried to reassure him, like, hey, like, I mean, I know this is just a quick snapshot, and being an engineer, I know looking at things, like, in a 4D sense, like, angles make the world a difference, and can portray things that aren't there versus the opposite. And, you know, just how to look at things prospectively in 2D, 3D, like, CAD drawings and stuff. And, you know, and I'm sure he's not used to looking at ultrasounds, so he just was not interested. And he was not also interested in Cody's history of his club feet or his dad's, which he did acknowledge it's obviously a genetic component, which made me happy because nothing lights me on fire more than doctors gaslighting you and telling you that what you think is not right, because they don't understand, because we learn things new every day, and sometimes what you don't understand doesn't mean it's not true. Because obviously there is a genetic component to this. So it was just interesting to hear that he was not at all wanting to hear Cody's history, his dad's, because he said every case is different, which yes, but you also can learn and grow from past trends, and obviously things that are directly related to Connor, and even that revolving my questions. So with Cody's club feet, he didn't have to have casting or bracing at all. It was like a 1-year process of casting, one and done, after they did surgery. And, well, he did have casting, but not in the sense Connor will. And Cody's dad had the casting process, but no surgery, and that lasted like, I think it was only like a few months, and then he was just good for life. So Connor's is going to be more like Cody's dad's case, from what it looks like, but he just said with the new treatment plan, it is so extensive and so aggressive, regardless of anything, that it doesn't matter. And Connor's kind of plan of action is, when he's born, they don't touch him for 2 weeks because it's important for him to reach the birth weight. Again, not be stressed, that's the bonding time. You just leave everyone alone for 2 weeks, which I kind of like. And then at the 2 or 3 week mark of life, he'll have a series of casting, like for 8 weeks, and they change it out every week. And they just hope his toes don't get swollen and fall off if it gets too tight, if he grows too fast. And there's like an emergency way to cut it off. And I'm just listening to this thinking, okay. And so after the 8 weeks of just every week different cast from hip to toe, which you can't bathe, he'll have to, in office, have his Achilles tendon clipped and completely taken apart. And he'll have to regrow for the next 4 weeks in one stationary cast. So that'll be interesting. And they'd clip that regardless of the severity. And then after that, it would be about the 15-week of life mark, he'll be progressed into the braces, which is the Ponseti bar and boot brace, and there's like 3 or 4 different types, and we pretty much already know which one we like. It allows for movements like this, and you can clip the bar on and off, so you can put them in a sling, you can put them in a high chair, you don't have to take everything off and everything back on. But it makes like bathing and diaper changing, everything just that much harder. You can't wear them as well and everything, so he'll have to wear that 24/7 for as long as it takes until he starts pulling up on things, and then he only wears it at night until he's 6 years old. And that was a hard 6 years old. It wasn't, if he progresses well, it'll be less. No. He says it used to be 4 years, and he says if 4 years wasn't quite good enough, might as well make it 6. Why not 16? No, not really, but so he is very hard set on he'll have to wear it every night till he's 6, and that means, you know, that will cause hip problems, you know, a little bit down the road, knee problems, alignment problems. He'll walk with an outside gait with his feet, which impacts sports. He's going to be a good sports player from genetics, and it's just really stressful. And how is he going to sleep on his back? Who sleeps on their back? And my family has heart issues, and I feel like I can't breathe, or I'm suffocating or drowning when I sleep on my back. If he happens to get that, then that just makes that worse. And it trains him to sleep on his back, which isn't as good for airways and sleep apnea, which runs into Cody's family. And it's just like a kind of domino effect. And I know he's young and it doesn't matter, but that impacts how you train yourself to sleep the rest of your life. And I've been taught side sleeping is best, and that's just what everyone does. Or stomach sleeping, whatever, you know, you just can't do that. And, well, I mean, he has stomach sleep, but that's got other problems of suffocation. But, it's just all that. And then with the casting process, when he's infant, little baby, when they're trying to mold his foot back to a normal shape, they said that it was just going to be, like, a week of heck, like, literally. They said it's just, no medicine's going to help. He's going to scream. He's not going to be sleeping. And as a new mother and first-time mom, it's just like, oh my goodness, like, why do we have to go through this? And why does he have to go through this? And, you know, there's an 80% chance he will not live a life full of pain like Cody has to every day. But that's great odds. It's just, none of it was just super encouraging. And the method that we like for bracing, the company that kind of deals with that is far away, in Maine to be exact, and our office, they're interested in working with him, but it's just too far away for their training, and we'd have to go back and forth flying to Maine, which is still a possibility, and he even said that himself. He's open to anything, which I was grateful for. That was very encouraging, knowing that this doctor is open for anything that we are willing to pursue with his supervision. So I don't like flying, especially with newborn germs, and Cody has like brain issues when we get in the air. Like, he about had an aneurysm last time we flew, but that's a story for another time. So we haven't flown since that incident. I don't want anyone to die. But regardless, anyway, I've flown probably 400 times in my life, so I'm used to it. I just do not like it. Do not like it at all. Nothing about it is fun. Especially with a 15-week-old baby multiple times until he's 3 or 2.5. That's how long they do theirs. And oh yeah, so the boot and bracing puts Connor's feet at a 70-degree angle going out. And it will just become part of his life, and regardless of how severe his foot is, that's why it's like, what are we even hoping for? Be bad or not bad, because according to this doctor, it doesn't really matter. So that I guess gives a peace of mind knowing, like, okay, what we saw in our 4D ultrasound yesterday, it was just like, okay, so who cares if it looks bad or not, as long as he's just fine. So it'll be weird having to have him out for 2 weeks after birth with his feet or foot, you know, turned, and everyone's like, what's wrong with his foot? It's like, I don't know. I don't know, he's just being him. And now let's move to the next step on our journey of this stressful week. And I was glad Cody was able to come to that appointment with me. There's just so much information you just can't even, like, process at once. You just need a second person to catch whatever you don't catch, and vice versa. And so the next morning, I had my big 1-hour glucose test, which I've been having symptoms that I'm probably not going to pass this sucker. And that is exactly what happened. So I was super nervous about drinking this drink. I've heard awful things about it, and after doing it, I could definitely see how those things happened to people. It was just not a fun experience, honestly, and nothing even bad happened to me, but it was not fun. You have to just down this drink in 5 minutes and go into your appointment an hour later to get a blood draw. The drink taste is just so sugary and makes you feel just so, like, your vision blurs, like, it's just sugar high on steroids. But I did that. Made it to the blood draw without throwing up, because if you throw up, you have to start over. Got my blood drawn, got the tetanus shot in my arm, got to hear the baby on Doppler. His heart rate is 165, he's doing great. I'm measuring a week ahead, also still my fundal height. My blood pressure is great, no swelling, nothing, no issues. But then it took like a few days for them to have the results back, and the limit was 135. It's like milligrams per DL in the units. And mine was 150, which isn't astronomical, because if it gets over 190, you automatically, they say you've got gestational diabetes, you don't even have to take the 3-hour test, you're screwed. So that was good to know, that it was just slightly over the limit from what they considered it. And but I still have to retake the test and do the 3-hour version, which I've heard awful things about, much worse. And after doing the 1-hour test, know that is going to be the case. So I was really upset to see that I failed that, because I just, with all this stuff going on, I just wanted one thing, just to, just be okay and not have to deal with it. I don't want to deal with it. I want to deal with Connor's foot. I don't want him to deal with it. I don't want to deal with gestational diabetes. I just don't want to deal with it. And I know I've only got 10 to 11 weeks left of pregnancy, but that's like, I don't want to deal with it. That's just the thing. And I just was so angry when I got that back, and it's like, man, I could have been doing this, maybe I did this wrong. And they say it's not how your diet is, it's all hormonal, it's in the placenta. But I just know that, like, this wasn't even a thing back with that grandparents' generation, and it's just how we eat nowadays with our processed foods and everything. And I exercise daily. I look fine. I have a normal weight. I look and feel pretty good, besides feeling kind of nauseous after eating sugary stuff. But I've cut that out the last month because it made my heartburn worse. So I've done everything I could leading up to this test, and if I have it, that's fate. I have it. And I'm waiting to this next week, tomorrow, to take the glucose test, and I'll update you, the 3-hour one. I'll update you on the next video if I have it or not. The diabetes. And it's just like, it's always one thing, and it's like, that's not what I needed. So we went to the grocery store after getting the results last week and got very, like, not keto foods, but healthy foods. I don't know, much healthier foods. I've been watching my sugar, not that that's going to help the results, because they say it doesn't, and obviously it didn't before my 1-hour test, but it just makes me feel better. If I have gestational diabetes, that I'm not hurting Connor. That's the big deal. And I just pray that I pass this. I've learned my lesson. God, I've learned my lesson. I'll eat healthier, do better. Just, I don't want diabetes. It increases your risk of developing type 2 later in life. And if you do have gestational diabetes, there's like a 15% chance you'll have to go on insulin. If you do have to go on insulin, that's like an extreme chance that you won't even get rid of the gestational diabetes after birth, and it turns into type 2 immediately if you don't lose X amount of weight right away. I've just been hearing all this stuff from everyone, and it's like, okay, I just don't want it. I'm not, like, I'm a fit person, and I know that doesn't matter, because they say gestational diabetes truly does happen to anyone, any walks of life, in any shapes and sizes and activity levels and eating wise and whatever. It's a hormonal thing, so I have to keep that in mind and try not to freak out, because that test is tomorrow morning, and I am already freaking out. I'm gonna have my mom come and stay because I don't want to pass out, vomit, or whatever, and can't drive. There's just one thing after the next. Another exciting thing for this week, I ordered my breast pump through insurance online. That's free. I can't remember what brand it was. It was like, not Spectra, maybe it was. I don't remember, I'll have to ask Cody. He helped me decide through the options. And I don't plan on pumping, but everyone has told me that you have to pump if you breastfeed because of just oversupply, or if the baby needs a bottle, which I plan on being the main source of food for Connor. And hope I don't have any issues breastfeeding. I've signed up for my breastfeeding class on April 7th, so I can learn and ask all my questions. But yes, I don't plan on using the breast pump, but it's really good to have just in case. And yeah, it's pretty good to have just in case. And if for whatever reason I have to pump, for whatever the reason, I'll have it. So that's good to know. And I also have a manual breast pump on my baby registry in the Haka also. Moving on to the fun part of this update. Still here and waiting around. Thank you for sticking through this long video of me rambling. It's so hard for me to gather my thoughts sometimes, especially for long updates and things that aren't fun. But this has definitely not been a fun week for me. This stresses the heck out of me, all of this stuff, and just worrying about little Connor as I take, pregnancy and his health really seriously. But I knew by having this 4D family ultrasound plan for the weekend, regardless of how the week went, was just what I needed. And that's exactly what I've scheduled and what we had 2 days ago. So let me jump into that and I'll show you some pretty ultrasound pictures. So, we went to Cloud9 studio near Sam's Club if you're local from the area. Wonderful studio. I don't know why everyone doesn't do 4D ultrasounds. It's not too expensive. It was like $170, which is a lot, but for a lifetime of memories and experience to show and share with family, and you get to see your son or child before they're born, like, and what they're gonna look like, because it's always pretty accurate, like, that's worth $1,000 in my opinion. Like, that is just the greatest thing ever with technology, so why would you not do that? But anyways, we had a fantastic experience. That's also where I got my blood drawn for the sneak peek blood test that's 7 weeks long to know the gender, which was right, boy. And it's a 30-minute scan where you can film, you can take pictures, have as many people as you want in the room. They record the ultrasound entire thing. Also, they print out pictures for you. It's all in 4D or 3D, and you get to see and hear the heart and do whatever you want. And I also opted to get a heartbeat bear. That's literally his heartbeat recorded. Can you hear that? Like, how special. I'm gonna cherish that forever, and he'll be able to hear it. I mean, just the stuff they have now, it just makes my heart smile, and the whole appointment I just was smiling from ear to ear, and I couldn't even like stop. It was so much fun. And it was let's see, my Nana, my Gigi, and my sister, they had never seen an ultrasound before, period. So that was new for them. And then Cody's parents and my mom had never seen a 4D ultrasound because it was so like two-dimensional back then. And oh, actually no, I think Cody's dad had never seen an ultrasound either. So I think it's Cody's dad and my grandmother, both my grandmothers, so and Morgan, they had never seen an ultrasound. And then the other three had never seen a 4D, and Cody and I had never seen an ultrasound this far along for our son, obviously. Even so it was a new experience for everyone, so it was so neat to invite closest family to be able to join me with that, and me and Cody, and we got to just get some great images. Got the heartbeat bear. I'm going to order a heartbeat necklace so I can always keep his heartbeat strong and close to me. It's only, that's 70 bucks, so that is a little bit, or maybe it's 90. That was a little bit steep, but I don't know. I'm a sucker for that. It really looks pretty, and I just want his little heart waves on a necklace around near my heart. You know, just going through our miscarriage first, it was really hard, and I'm just amazed that we've even gotten to this point in our pregnancy with healthy little Connor. So it's worth it. It's totally worth it for me, and so I need to call and order that. Let me get you some of the pictures. And we also are definitely going to do this with the next baby. But it's just so neat to see the ultrasound and to be like, oh, like while we're watching, like, oh, that's what I feel whenever I roll over in bed, and oh, this is how I lay in bed, and he looks squished and uncomfortable, so that's how he feels normally when I'm laying in bed at night. And how his reaction is like, or it's like, okay, I feel him kicking here. What is he doing when he kicks there? And we see it in real time on the screen. It's like, oh, that's his leg or that's his foot. Oh, that's why he's kicking. And that's what I always feel. And we've also just found that his butt is up here, spine is here on the right side, head is down. Thank the Lord. Let's just hope he stays that way till delivery. And then arms and feet over here and legs. One arm though was tucked behind him. And we got to see again for sure he's a boy. That's always comical to me. That was the first time we saw the second she turned on the ultrasound machine. But, you know, I was having like bad ass reflux during the whole appointment. I was like, I can't lay here much longer. Why is this happening to me? But, I mean, it was just, everyone really enjoyed that experience. And I just can't wait to show you these pictures here in a second. But let me go grab them. Okay, here are the pictures. I'm going to try to show this without glares. It was also neat to see features of like, oh, that looks like me, that looks like Cody. Look at his chunky cheeks, he's got the chubbiest cheeks already. The ultrasound lady said he's not over chunky and not skinny, so he's just on track. His little nose and eyes, I can't believe I grew that and he's inside of me. Look at that. I can't tell whose nose he has. I think it's Cody's. He's got my lips. Cody's kind of eyes that slant a little bit down, have like a downward tilt. Cody's ears. My chin dimple. He has a chin dimple. We can tell that right away. I'm so excited. He'll be something of mine. Being a boy, I know he's going to already look like Cody. And their Rayburn genes are strong, so they all look the same. You should see pictures of Cody and his dad when he was little. They're identical. Look at that. His little smile. He opened his eyes. He moved his mouth. Look at that. You can see his chin there. Look at that. He's just the cutest little guy I've ever seen. He's using my placenta as a pillow. I can't wait to meet him. Look at that. Absolutely incredible. He didn't move too much, but he was definitely awake. Look at the side profile. That looks like me. Back to the beginning. Look at those cheeks. It was just so fun to see his little face and his body. It doesn't feel real. It doesn't feel like this is my child. This is half me. How did I make him? And how is he right here? I'm so excited. It just made it that much more real, and I just can't believe we'll be meeting him soon, and hopefully everything goes well. We did get to see his feet. He hid them a lot, but his right foot still looks normal and fine. His left foot definitely has a turn to it, not severe. But I mean, it's pretty much what we saw in the ultrasound 9 weeks ago. But it was hard to focus on that because literally he was like keeping his feet up underneath him. No matter which angle we turned, we couldn't quite get it. So his feet are like kind of like right here, where I've been feeling the kicks. But yeah, I just wanted to share it with you guys. And I can't wait to update you next week on the shower, my 3-hour glucose test, and everything good and exciting coming. Thank you guys. Bye. Here is my 28-week bump. It is not realistic right now because I just stuffed myself for lunch and I did not film before breakfast this morning, so this is much bigger than it normally is. If I waited a few hours from now, it'd go back down, but I don't have a few hours from now, so here's all we got. It's my new dress from Target Maternity. Just came in online. How crazy is this? I definitely see some chin dimple shadow or something, I thought.
Mom.
Yeah.